Squash XL Pro is an elite team that work hard to train, play and run squash events on our journey to climb the world rankings. Like, subscribe, comment, pick up some of our merch on Teespring.
So after a very entertaining match between Joel Ascott and Zach Miller, of course, Miller winning that in 4 games. We're back on court again now, and it is Willz Donnelly against TEMWA Chileshe. And apologies for a women's match. We did tell you the wrong score. There's been a few little score alterations and the odd person, and it was Abby Palmer defeating Emery Holst in straight games in her match on the other court. In the meantime, I can tell you that it is Amanda Landers-Murphy who is taking the first game definitely against Diana Galloway. So good for Landers-Murphy, who's moving very well to be back on court, and good for Galloway to get the experience against a player who has been ranked in the top 40 in the past. And thank you very much to the Howick Squash Club for giving me a blanket. And I don't care what that sounds like.
Where's mine, Dave?
There are more blankets there, John.duggan. I don't care what that sounds like. It's warm outside, but inside with the fans on to keep the moisture away from the court, it's a little cool. Good rally so far, both players just working their way into the match. Good depth. Lengthy rally so early in the match, and in the end just put it a bit too high, almost hit the LIQUORLAND sign.
And out. 1, 3.
And Willz Donnelly just getting on the board. He won't mind too much. He's another one of these players who's a good fighter. Certainly improved a huge amount over the last 18 months, although not on that shot. Straight into the tin. And what's that? And stroke. So he gets that one.
And out. 2, 4.
He certainly overacted the stroke, but got it in the end. Deserved it. have one more men's quarterfinal this afternoon as well, and that is
3-4.
Joseph White up against Sean Wigan.
Stroke, too easy. Hand out. 5-3.
And early stages in this match, and we've had a couple of strokes already. And a let on that one, and neither player really too fast, really quick to get back into position to get underway for the next point. There's no real mucking around here at the present time. Oh, gee. Willz Donnelly mistiming that one, but recovering quite nicely in the end. But he's really back in the point.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, just a little bit of misjudgment from Donnelly. Good reactions to recover quickly.
Seven, 3. Gets back. 7-3.
Good play. Nice touch on the backhand, taking off the pace. Still very well to bash it hard. But taking off the pace a little bit more difficult, but also wins more. And a win there for Amanda Landers-Murphy. Don't have the score just yet, but a win for her, taking it through to the next round later on this afternoon. So make sure you tune in. We'll see her on the main court as well. This is a really measured approach from TEMWA Chileshe. Yeah, he gets the stroke there. Really measured approach. Just doing nothing too fancy. That's the first game ball. Plays it on the middle. Oh, that is a beautiful shot. Tied off the wall on the forehand side, and the ball just floated. No pace on it at all, and yeah, that's a really well executed shot. Takes out the first game, 11-3 over Willz Donnelly in this quarter-final. So back ready now for this, the second game of this quarter-final. It is TEMWA Chileshe in the white t-shirt against Willz Donnelly. And TEMWA Chileshe taking the first game, 11-3. Very structured play. And looks as though he's going to get a stroke there. We certainly had a very exciting match the previous contest. few opinions on that as well.
It's getting to me.
Feel free to send in any thoughts and opinions. Don't forget we do have the semi-finals from around about 5:30 this afternoon.
No, man. I'm just crying like
Looks as though we're going to have a semi-final between Amanda Landers-Murphy
I can imagine.
and Abby Palmer in the women's. That'll be exciting to watch. Oh,
Stroke to Donnelly.
yeah.
Hand out.
Yeah, it had to be a stroke, that one.
1-all.
I was about to take off his head if he had hit it. And don't forget also that tomorrow morning, around about anyway, we should have some additional squash that you can watch, and that'll be at the Psa World Championships, where you can watch Paul Cole and Joelle King play their matches. Just check on the timing for tomorrow, round 3. And those matches will be on Squash New Zealand Facebook if you want to check that out as well. Paul Cole against Gosel, the world number 12, the Indian player. That should be at around about, fairly early in the morning, sorry. That will be about 5:15 in the morning. You might not want to watch that one. And in the women's, Joelle King, she will be playing her match, well, scheduled for her match. Let's check out what time through the 3rd round as well, after beating Emily Whitelock today. And as we scroll down, we'll see that she will take on Nadine Shahin, the 15th seed from Egypt. That could be quite a tough one, actually. So that match will be around about 7 in the morning, 7:30 in the morning. Just have to recheck on that one. That match has been played in Chicago. So a couple of good matches there in the morning. And then you've got the afternoon finals here at the LIQUORLAND HOWICK Squash Open. 1:15 for the women and 2 p.m. for the men.
That wasn't.
5-1.
Yeah, good squeeze.
A nice shot there from Willz Donnelly, really forcing the ball into the forehand corner right at the back. And TEMWA Chileshe unable to pick up. So again, though, that's good buffer for TEMWA Chileshe, 5-2 up. What we can do here, taking the first game fairly comfortably, although the rallies were long. You can see that it was quite structured as well, the way he played. And a good crowd around the courts here at the Howick Squash Club. It's a good venue. Looks out over the Cockle Bay Tennis Club. Well, that's part of it. And they've got the tennis courts there. They're slightly flooded today. And the let call on that one. And just checking which side to go for the serve. Certainly no major complaints from the players so far on this match. Several strokes and a couple of lets. But nothing compared to the previous match, which had everything, you might say, between Zach Miller and Joel Ascott, including a hole in the ceiling. Flick there from Willz Donnelly, nice and controlled, and yeah, realised he could go forward or around, and yep, and lifted that one too much. No real complaints there from Willz Donnelly. Just realised he's stuffed it up a little bit. Probably a nice way of putting it, stuffing it up.
6-3.
In there, another error from Willz Donnelly. As the points keep on adding up for TEMWA Chileshe, remembering that Chileshe is ranked 139 in the world. older brother Luamba is 114. Both at career highs. And they really want to get out there and test themselves against different players. However, the Australian Open has been postponed. It was meant to be later this month, or in fact in a couple of weeks. It's been postponed. Obviously the issues going on in New South Wales and around Australia. So it negates that opportunity. There is a tournament coming up in Whanganui next month at some stage. Just to recheck on that, whether it gets shifted or not. And just the opportunities overseas are very limited unless you're in Europe, and to play some of those tournaments perhaps the rankings need to be a little bit higher, or the risk of actually getting to Europe and staying there COVID free is, well, it's a big risk. Of course, the Oliver Sport New Zealand Championships did get shifted as well. They will be on the second weekend of September in Wellington. And just a polite question from Willz Donnelly. No antics in that one. So let's just look through the PSA World Rankings for the men. We've got Paul Cole at 4. Evan Williams at a high of 60. That one off is very high. 68. Luamba Chileshe 114. TEMWA Chileshe 139. And nice work there from TEMWA Chileshe 11-3. So that is 2 games to love. Well, it's been a very tactical and a very solid match so far for TEMWA Chileshe. He's been playing very good squash, certainly over the last, well, I'd like to say last few tournaments, that is. It's the 3rd seed in this tournament, and look at that, playing it off his body. Nice and strong. Willz Donnelly had a few unforced errors in the second game in particular. You don't need to give him a cuddle. Get the let.
Yeah, it's too far away. You can actually go around. You can actually go. Actually, either, to be honest. You can go around the front. Yeah. Fine.
Well, that's about the first discussion that we've really had with the officials. It wasn't so bad. It's just difficult for the players to hear, of course. We'll have one more quarterfinal remaining, and that will be Sean Wiggin against our Aussie friend Joseph White. Good to have him here, and good that he could actually make it. He was coming out of Queensland, which I think is about one of the few states that actually open to New Zealand at the moment. As we did mention that the Australian Open has been put on hold. It can be played in the town of Bega in country New South Wales. We have the error there from TEMWA Chileshe. So there was going to be a few players going across for that. Certainly the Chileshe brothers, I believe Joel Ascott was. Mason Smales was going. Caitlin Watts in the women's. A few players from New Zealand were going to be going. Oh, and he walks into that.
Squeeze.
Yeah, just didn't quite know where he was going on that one, Willz Donnelly. They're certainly racing through this tournament.
No left.
And that was a little bit slow. TEMWA Chileshe didn't seem to be moving that quickly to that ball. He does have a 2-game-to-love lead. Although it is Donnelly with a 4-2 lead in this one. And did it stay underneath the line? I think it did. Oh, that's great play. Just a little bit of lift on the racket. Not too much.
Somebody watch it.
3-4, hand out.
TEMWA Chileshe was up real close to the wall, and the official's up on that one, so no problems there. Come back from 2-4 down. Come back from 2-4 down to make it 4-all. Good depth from both players, working the ball into the corners from each shot, and that one's into the 10. A lot of mistakes coming from Willz Donnelly in this match, more than you'd normally see anyway. And normally he's fairly consistent, and that's what's helped him get some good results this year. But in today's match, not looking so good. So it is TEMWA Chileshe who's moved ahead from 2-4 down to 5-4, make that 6-4 up.
6-4. Hand out. 5-6.
And they looked about. Ooh.
Strike, you're not clearing, Will.
Stroke to Chileshe, hand out.
And the strike.
Not clearing.
7-5.
So he's moved nicely there for TEMWA Chileshe. He was down 2-4, then up 6-4, now 7-5. And again, the errors keep on coming. Oh, gee, got that. Great speed. Nice recovery from Willz Donnelly after having to slide full frontal on the floor. He's back into this one nicely. Oh. Yep. So lift hasn't been working as much as it normally would as well. Usually it's quite a good weapon for him to actually get back into rallies. Today it's been absent. And it looks as though we could have a straight game victory at this stage for TEMWA Chileshe. Won the first two very easily. Certainly very easily on the scoreboard.
Light box. 9-5.
Of course, a couple of other matches from earlier today. Ella Lash in 4 games over Crystal Tahata from Northland. We had Lawamba Chileshe in straight, albeit pretty tough, against Elijah Thomas. And then we had the Zach Miller against Joel Ascott. Zach Miller winning in 4. All sorts of things going on in that match. Maybe you can go back a little bit later on and have a look at the fun.
10-5. Match ball.
And nicely played so far for TEMWA Chileshe. He's got match ball. Really good, efficient play. And there it is in straight games for TEMWA Chileshe. Goes through to the semi-finals. He will take on the winner of Joseph White against Sean Wigan. That match from 5:30 this afternoon.